Welcome to 50 Plus Home and Gardening. Today we're going to work on topiary. It's such a fun project. So let's get right into it. All right, here's an old topiary that I need to get fixed up a little bit. He's kind of getting overgrown, and every topiary thing that you do tends to want to go back to its original shape. So it wants to go back to its Christmas tree shape, and it doesn't want to be cut in or anything. So you have to keep it. All right, how am I going to start this? Because like I said, there's quite a bit of lots of extra growth that I don't want. So what I really do is I look at the structure, I make sure it's what I want, and then I go, let's start at the top, because the top is the easiest way to get that smooth sailing, beautiful look. As far as tools, you can try different things. So if this makes it bend, the needles bend, don't use this one. Scissors are sometimes kind of nice. Get really sharp scissors. Any kind of cheap scissors, even at the dollar store. So I'm going to try these first because this juniper tends to be sappy. And if it's so sappy that it gets sap on my scissors, you can get somebody to clean it. You can get yourself to clean it. Or these were at the dollar store. I may just toss them because I don't really do this certain re-cutting too often. So first of all, let's just see if it'll cut it. This is dollar store scissors. Okay, yep, it does. So let's start at the top. You can kind of see my shape. And I'm just going to try to keep it. And you can flick all those cuttings off, look at it again, and see that your sphere is what you want. It can be anything. If you make a mistake, it'll grow. Believe me, they grow. You don't have to worry. Don't be scared because they keep growing. So if you don't like it and you made a hole on this side, it'll grow back, and then you can just not take as much out, and this will fill out. And this is probably more of a workout for me because these are dollar store, not too good. Now you can get shears and just go and shear it off. So if you have a shears tools, I do not, because I don't really have that many topiary, and I actually think this is therapeutic. So I kind of like doing it by hand. Like giving someone a real haircut. Okay, now this is a time to stand back and evaluate. You can always do more later. So this will be my first cut. If I decide that this is too square here, I can just take a little bit more angle here. Ping, ping. And this would be... I changed scissors, by the way, because, well, I don't know. Even these aren't doing too good. This juniper is pretty tough. All right, I think I like everything on this. Looking good to me. Now I do the second level, and you can see that I have this space in between. And all I want to do is take down anything that's growing high. So kind of just follow your old lines. If you don't let it go out of control, this was first haircut since last fall. So if I'm thinking like that, I could have done this earlier. So if you wait, it may look like you can't tell one from another, but I can, and so this is good. Now see, this one got, you can see this piece right here, it got about 4 inches. So that's pretty extreme. I don't usually let it get that big. I usually let it only grow over about 1.5 inches or so, and then I cut it, because then you can really see the lines. Okay, so do you see my second stage? You can see inside, which I really like to clean out the inside to make this topiary stand out. Don't be afraid. See, it's got all the guts inside are kind of brownish, but I have cut this all the way deep, 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 deep inside, and I'm not afraid to keep that up. So. Okay, I think I like this level. And you can see I just trimmed off anything that was just sticking out. And this is another level, so you can see inside there, I made it deep. I made it go all the way in here to the main trunk. You can see that. And now I'm gonna go down. We're gonna do the same thing. So I've left myself a gap and just cut. So you can see this one has grown probably too high. I wouldn't let it go this far. This is May and June is probably a little late to do these. These grow pretty fast as soon as the sun hits. Maybe you wanted to do this in April so it wouldn't be so tall, but this is already 4 inches. And I don't really like that growth too because it's taking energy away from this main area that you like. So let's get this all cut. All right, now's the time to just kind of rough it up. Make sure you got all the debris out top to bottom and take it back. Look at it. If you see anything that just bothers you, take it out again. Okay, rough it up again. Okay, that way you get the debris out, plus you get to look at the beauty again. Okay, for me, okay, even on this side, it's starting to get kind of lumpy over here. I could pull that back into about right here, but it kind of looks really bonsai, you know, sort of Japanese. Okay, here's this angle. Probably like this angle a little bit better. It's a little bit more Christmas tree, but then cut. I like that. Okay, the back angle shows this being a little smaller and this looking a little fatter. I think I may bring this in just a smidge. Okay, I didn't take off more than a 1/2 inch, but I could probably go in closer, but let me look from the front again. Yeah, that's probably all I want because now this is gonna come in more. So this is the front view, which I really like. So let's stick with the front's got to be the prettiest. And here's coming up the walkway. Yeah, I could take a little bit more here, but you know what? You can work on this daily because if you do it all today, you may regret it. So I've trimmed off all the loose edges, anything that's sort of out of control. I've kind of made it neat and tidy again. You can see there's another layer that's going around there. You can't really see it in the camera, but there's another layer there. And if I do too much, I may cut into some of the structure. It's like you see, I kind of cut this, and now I may have to let that grow a little bit. So, all right, from this angle, I did take a little bit out of here, and a little bit from here, and here. I may have to let that grow out just a bit, but just leave it alone for a while. And, you know, I'm going to rough it up again, and just roughing it up just means just kind of doing that and seeing if there's any loose ends that I left in there. And also some of the debris that you cut off will come down below. And I think I'm going to clean up, leave this here. I really like this bonsai. Really cute, pretty. So that's how you would do one that you already have existing. Okay, we're gonna stand back and just take a look at it. There's the topiary coming through the Williamsburg garden, and it's like, Yeah, I like that. Nice spiral. Remember, the spiral is probably the hardest to maintain because there are 3 or 4 levels depending on what you have going on. If you had 5 or 6 of these, I would probably get shears, battery style, so that you can just go zinc, zinc, and it would be done. Then maybe you can trim it up with scissors. But if you just have one, it's just fun and therapeutic to just do that. So anyways, that's kind of done for me. And like I said, you don't have to worry about someone else. If you like it, it's wonderful. You can always make it go back to a Christmas tree. If you eventually don't touch it, all of these will just grow straight up, and it will just make a big, giant, you'll have one huge Christmas tree. This was one of these. So that's the baby Blue Point juniper. This is big boy. And it was in there when I took it from another house, and it was a lot smaller. And now that I've put it in the ground, whew, it's gotten big. So I try to keep it at bay, just keep it compact and back. Okay, here's another idea to topiary, and that is a boxwood. So I'm gonna come in really close to the top. I want to make a round circular and another round circular on top of this boxwood. So here's what I have to do, and this is all you have to do. You can see when I come close that it needs a haircut. So before you give it a haircut, you want to look at one of these and you want to pick the centerest piece that you can find, and that one will become another round sphere bulb. And now you'll have 2 heads. So I think I'm going to pick this one as don't cut it. So how I do this first is I cut everything around it so I won't cut this later. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut around it. Okay, so you can see this is the one I want. Everything else has to be cut low. And here's how you just cut it low. You just try to come into the deepest part that you can kind of see the sphere a little bit, and then just cut all the extra ones off. Okay, here's my new green mountain boxwood. I have cut it to where I'm going to let it settle down a little bit. You can always come back and cut more, and I've left one guy. This will become another little guy. So you'll have a ball and another ball. So that is a way to topiary a boxwood, really quick and easy. You just let it get messy, let it grow its full spring growth, and then you just don't take out one, and you'll let that one grow into a ball. And now you have a double balled boxwood. And how I did this, and this is what you can do all the way around it, is I just took my, this is really handy step stool because it has a hole in the middle so you can grab it with your hand, and also my kneeling pad, which is great on my knees. So I get down on my knees here and I just put my whole chest over this and I just go to work, and I have 2 hands. So that's easy work. And I can bring this whole set over on this side. All right, let's move on. I'm going to topiary this. I think it's well, I'll put the name on the screen. Some sort of holly, but it's just always looking like it's going to die. So this is a good one to practice on. I can take it out and throw it away, or I can practice topiary on it. So I want to try that first. So maybe the first principle, if you just are really, really scared, is to just look at it for a while and kind of see what the shape that you may want to do. Now, this doesn't have 1 leader. It has many leaders, many
limbs that are going up, so it's not a 1 leader thing. So whatever you cut may affect something up here. And so what you can do is, well, my first thought is, because it's dying in the center, I'm just gonna maybe make a ball here and a ball up here. But how can we get that without cutting into the ball that's up here? So this has 1, 2, 3, 4 leaders, maybe, yeah, 5 back here. So I'm just gonna cut this one off because it's just dead. So just kind of cut it out, and you can always cut it lower later. If I want to keep this round shape on the top, I might want to look and see what this other leader is going to do. So if you can split it apart, well, nope, it's tangled in. So it looks like I'm going to have to make a couple of leaders. So 1, 2, I'm probably going to have to keep all 3 to keep this little head of hair. So basically, what I want to do is give myself a level. I've decided to shape this in a round shape. So you could put a string where you want the bottom of it, and everything underneath that gets cut off. Just remember, when you cut something from here, pull it down to see if it's going to break up what you have up here. So let me do some obvious ones. Let's just break up some of this middle. Okay, it's probably a good time to stand back and look at it. You can see now that I have a real kind of a head, and I have this section. And I'm just going to clean up some of this bottom part. And like I said, pull it back before you cut it off, just to make sure it's not part of this round part. Because sometimes when you have several leaders, they're connected to this round thing. And if you cut it off, now you've cut off some of the pretty up there. Okay, I see by pulling this down, it's not affecting this head. So let's just get rid of some of this middle. Now every 3 cuts, you can pull back and look at it again. Okay, so you can see how I've got these skinnies. And you can see whether you need this leader or not. And yes, I do need the leader because it's half of this green head. So that's why I try to get 1 leader plants. It's so much easier to do. Okay, I think I'm going to take out this whole layer all the way around. So I really want this top to kind of be significant. So I'm just going to cut this. Cut this. Look at it. Cut this. Cut that. All right, so now I've got sort of a top, and I have still quite a bit of danglers, so let me just get rid of those. All right, let me just get a few more that are not going to affect the top or the bottom. So just get rid of him. This is just a dead piece. You can start to see that I still have a few more angles to take out, but I can see, so you see this is my head, and I'm going to take this leader out and see if I can stand not having it. And yes, I can. So I'm going to take the whole thing out. Okay, there's my head. Okay, now there is another branch that's coming up, and I'm pulling it down, and I'm going to say, do I want that head out? And I would say, yes, I'm going to take that out. Because most of the branches are very low, and it's not affecting the head. Okay, let's come around here. I'm just gonna pull it up, take it off. Okay, this is shaping up nice. This is dead, so I'm just gonna take it out, even though it's gonna affect my shape a little bit, but I don't really want it in there. Okay, so now let's just pull some of these back and make it arched. All right, so now let's pull some of these down. You can't really make a mistake in this. I mean, if you don't like it, you can toss it, or you can let it go back to its natural. So I'm gonna give myself a line down here, and I'm gonna flatten it. At this point, you could just leave it alone, kind of look at it, see if you like it. Decide if you want to take out more, and you do it in steps, do it in days if it scares you. I just kind of look at a shape that I want. So, you know, I wanted that round. I skinned up all of this. So like I said, it's a good one to do a modeling of this has now, it had like 5 liters, and now it's down to 3. Here's an update on our Highlander Japanese holly. A lot of new growth, and there's a lot of new growth in here. So you just remember later on, you would just keep that up, keep cutting this part back and making it smooth, and just keeping up with what you already have. This head, and if you want to adjust, like I may want to adjust this little area, you can do that. You can keep adjusting as you go. Look at all the new growth though. Maybe I saved it. So now we're going to work on trees that have never been touched. So these I got at Walmart, of all things. Walmart has, you can go to Walmart plants and the things come up. If you know the name, it's actually better. So this is a Blue Point juniper, which I got. They were 4 inches, and now within 1 year, they have grown, I'd say they're about 1.5 foot. But these are great to start a topiary because you get the beginning of the structure. Now, if you pick one, I like to pick one with a leader. So if you look inside here, you've got one strong stem all the way up. See that? These are great to make topiary because you know where the center is at least. So right now it's just Christmas tree shape, and I want to get 2. Now 2 are kind of a painful thing to do because now you have to make them even. But since I'm not a perfectionist, it's not going to be super, super hard to do. I have 2 of them that are exactly about the same size. This one may be fuller than this one. Doesn't matter because they eventually will grow up and they'll just be fine. And remember, plants are individuals, so don't be too freaked out if this not exactly the haircut is exactly on this side, because they're going to be distance apart enough that you won't even notice that. So these 2 are the closest in height that I could get, and they both have 1 liter. Those are the best to get. So if you are in the store, you're going to get a cheap, inexpensive one. Just make sure they don't have multiple liters. Let me show you this one. See, this one's starting to grow another whole liter, and another whole liter here. So if these start growing up, it'll be a strong liter and another strong liter and another strong liter. Probably don't want to start there. That's why I like them small. Now I know where that liter is and I can take care of the rest. Now, how do I want to do this? What shape do I want? Well, I kind of like this shape. So I'm going to try to do this fleur de, okay, I'll give you the name of what that is. Fleur de, I don't know. fleur-de-lis. So let's try this on one. I'm going to take half of the tree, and don't be afraid. Now, don't be afraid. And I'm just going to look at it, and I'm just going to, okay, there's the leader. I don't want to cut the leader. Everything around the leader up to this point, I'm going to cut off, just straight off. I can always go lower. So let's just start there. First cut is always painful. Ugh, okay, I did it. Now let's just keep going around. All right, now remember, I only paid $40 for 10 of these, and they're already big. If you ruin them, if you don't like them, if it makes you cry because you just trashed a tree that you spent money on, don't fret, because I didn't spend a whole lot of money because they were small. That's why I like small plants. They don't trouble me. But I'm already seeing a shape. Okay, so all I did is I just cut a straight line all the way around. Okay, now I want to separate this from here. So I'm going to pull this completely off. Bing, because he was right in the middle. I'm going to point this off. And let's just take care of this. Okay, now what do I like? I'm going to take care of this. Okay. Now, at this point, I'm going, So what I'd like to do is I think I want to go down a little further. So I'm going to cut this off and maybe this. And I'm going to go down one more, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Just straight. Let's just go straight first. Now, if you're at the beginning and you're just starting, I would probably not do shears. Shears are so scary because they're so fast. Take your time. So I've done my first cut, and now I've done a second cut on top of that. Now look at it, and now what do you want? I have a strong stem. Remember, these are going to get fat. They'll get, this big. So just think of this is an infant. Okay, remember this Christmas tree is going to want to go back to the Christmas tree. So now that I've made my plan, I have to keep this. I can't stop cutting. It's got to continue. Like if it grows another 1/2 inch to an inch in the summer, I have to keep control of that so it stays in my shape. Remember, this leader will get fatter and these will get fatter. Well, let's just start with my shape. So I've just cut it straight, zing, and I just cut a little pointed kind of a topper, which is fine for this because this wants to go into a point anyways. I could round this off and cut this and make it into a ball, but that's a lot more work. And I've decided to make this kind of like that shape. So, but for the bottom, I think I want it rounded. So all I'm going to do is just curve all this. Okay, those are some of my first cuts. I'm going to go stronger here. For me, always flick because there may be some stuff in there and you don't see it. I think this is the start of a good relationship between it and me. So rounding this, which gives me some control of something different than the way it wants to grow, maybe not quite, see how it's kind of pointed up. So, but I'm just thinking of the top. The top is kind of a pointed. So I'm going back to this, seeing if I like it, kind of going around. Okay, it's a baby plant, so I think I'm gonna leave it alone right now. Now, dun dun dun, let's see if we can do the same to this one. So start with the same. This has a leader, and I'm just gonna go, I did half. I started with half of this. So go around the leader and just take off half. And everything above, let's pinch off this. Off, complete, complete. Okay, now I can see that this needs to go down one more. So let's cut off, complete, off, and complete. Okay, now you just keep looking at it. Now I'm gonna kind of curve it. Okay, maybe this one is a little taller. Now you may find your second one looks better than your first one, and then you want to readjust this one. So just keep looking at it. Don't cut on this. This is your leader. All right, this one does kind of have a hole right here, so I'm going to let this grow in. I did not cut that part, but you can see that this has a hole in it, and I'm just going to let it grow and fill in. All right, I think I'm feeling a little bold because there's small plants now, and I want to make a huge impression. So I'm going to take them both down again by 1 inch. So let's start with this one. Okay, now I don't want to go down any further because remember this was kind of going like a Christmas tree, and it's actually going in on the bottom. So I won't have much of a puff if I go too low, but here's what I wanted. I want a distinct line of emptiness, and then cut and leave. All right, let's try to accomplish that with this. Okay, so you may be saying like Charlie Brown and say, I've killed it. Okay, you haven't killed it. All of this would grow back if you just wanted to go right back to this, because it's so small, it's not going to take anything. But I really think this is great because it's a small tree, and so where it's going to try to fill out, it's going to try to get fatter and fatter on the bottom, and this plume, because this I keep cutting. Same with here, it's going to keep trying to grow in here, but I'm not going to let it, but then it will grow bigger and fatter here and up here. Okay, if you remember, I started our shape with just cutting straight, and anything above that area would be cut off, leaving the top, and I just kind of skinned everything in these areas. That made me a kind of a pole. And then I decided to shape this into a round. You could have left it just squared off. Then all you'd have to do is take care of it like this. You would just chop, chop, chop around, and it would just get more like a plate. And then this, because it didn't do anything, it's going to grow exactly the way it has always grown, like a Christmas tree. But remember, this is going to try to fill in, so you'll want to keep that cut.
Keep moving, keep gardening, and stay creative. And I'll see you next time.